normally in racing, you're doing a lot of zone 2 cardio to get ready for it, to just make sure you're keeping your heart rate down.
Yeah.
And so an average NASCAR race is 3.5 hours. And so for that 3.5 hours, your average heart rate is 150 to 155 beats per minute.
Dude.
The only sport that compares with that is doing an Ironman or a marathon, things like that, because it's so strenuous. So, for me, I was done in 2019. Now it's 2024. Well, I spent this whole last year trying to rebuild that cardiovascular strength.
Yeah.
On top of that, your shoulder work is really important. So making sure you have a lot of endurance and stamina. The not so exciting part about NASCAR training is it's all endurance. It's all like, there's nothing sexy to it. Like the vanity part is not there. Like if you want to look at Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's an incredible athlete, but the wide receivers look good, right? They can be on the cover GQ, but the quarterbacks are like, yeah, they're all right. There's nothing like, there's no amazing physique.
Yeah.
But then it's crazy because you look at so many specialized pro athletes and nobody looks like a bodybuilder. So I was doing a lot of strength training to get it back. And now I'm transitioning to where I'm doing more cardio, more reflex training. I've got one of those, if you watch Drive to Survive or Tyreek Hill's YouTube channel, you see like this. Yeah, I get the lights. So I got that here showing up this week.
That's sick.
And then I have Smith Machine, Peloton, that kind of stuff. But when I'm in season, it's typically 6 days a week, and I'll do 45 minutes of strength training, and then typically 30 of cardio. And then one day, and there will be like kind of yoga, and then mixing in a lot of core and reaction training. Again, that's when I'm really dialed in.
Yeah.
I haven't been dialed in a long time.
Yeah, you're getting it back. I would imagine like core, because you got like you hit on like the leg press and like how you're holding the wheel, like just holding yourself in place in the car feels like such a core workout every time you're hitting like a 3G turn.
Yeah, you look at the F1 and IndyCar drivers, why they're so small. And neck training is a big thing too, but they're so small, but they're kind of like soccer players. Their cores are so strong because you're trying to hold yourself up in the car. When you're going into banking, all the forces against you.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that the one variable that's a weak point is not the driver. You want to make sure that you're physically sharp because it's mentally taxing. So the stronger you can be physically for that endurance period, you don't have the mental wear. So then you can make quick, split-second decisions. If you're worn out and your body's tired and all these things are going on, you're thinking about that, and you can't. When you're talking about those kids, there's that little gap some of them see. Well, on the professional level, everyone sees those. So if you can't make that 1/10 of a second decision, it's literally 1/10 of a second. If you can't do that, that's your only chance.
So you got that reaction train. You got to be when you're training, you got to be hitting the lights right in time to be able to see it. What you said 150 degrees. Are you doing sauna or like steam room or anything? Like, do you do any heat type of stuff?
Yeah, that was one of the first things I learned going into stock car racing was how hot it was. So being up here in Cleveland, it's cold all the time, it seems like. But I literally, when I was little, my parents had a steam shower. I would go get in snow pants, a sweatshirt, a hoodie, so double layered, and then a snow jacket, and then a helmet, and just go sit in there at about 145 degrees. Yeah. And now I have a sauna, and I'll do cold plunges in the morning. I really like those just for the mental part of it. Body feels good too, but my sauna, I'll crank it up to 185 to 194, somewhere in there, and just sit in there for 30, 40 minutes.
Whoa, dang, that's intense. That's like you cutting weight for wrestling. That reminds me of like high school days trying to get down. Dang. What so when you're like on race day, like you're losing all that weight, like what are you doing before you get in the car, like to, I guess, I don't know, prepare? What are you eating or like consuming pre-race?
Yeah, it starts the day or two before. Yeah. So for me, when I was in NASCAR, now like the local racing stuff, you don't have it as much. I'm doing some sports car racing this year that I'll prep the same way I used to for NASCAR. Yeah. But like 2 days before, you start hydrating pretty heavily. Yeah. Sometimes 3 days before, depending on if you know it's going to be 100 degrees, it's going to be 150 in the race car. If it's going to be 70 outside, probably 125, 130, not too bad. So you just know what your conditions are going to be for that weekend, and you prepare accordingly. So for me, 2-3 days before, Pedialyte, maybe do an IV.
Yeah.
Liquid IVs are great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I really like to, the day before, it's these packets called the Right Stuff. I think they have Element,
Oh,
LMNT,
yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
packets.
Was
So they're just chock full of sodium,
mm-hmm.
and just kind of getting that in your system,
Mm.
36 hours before. When I felt the best racing, I'd have a big ribeye the night before to kind of get that fat in me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but the morning of, I like to be full, but not super, super full. So
Yeah,
if I can get some decent, like some avocado, maybe some eggs, maybe a little bit of carbs before there,
yeah,
just to
for sure.
feel full and good, but you don't want to feel lethargic.
Yeah. Dang, dude, that's wild.